Okay, I'm back talking about Teachers Part 2 now that my dog's barking tantrum has stopped. Okay, so I was talking about being introduced to Max Strom, going to some of his workshops. I found his work with the breath to be healing and cathartic and personal, and he just was such a wonderful influence on, again, approaching practice from a gentler, kinder, more sustainable way. And I found his language and his posture so accessible as a teacher and as a student. I was so grateful to be introduced to Max's work. Along the way, I had also been sort of courting and following a woman named Erin who had started Circus Yoga. And I really wasn't sure what it was, but I thought it would be really fun for Little Om Studio. And so Erin and I began talking and found out the moment I met her, I just adored her. I thought she was authentic and real and playful and alive and smart. And so I began really embracing her style and her art form of understanding human connection and human play, and the reason why we need to connect and play as human beings. I just love that about her, and I really align myself with the principles that Erin teaches as well. And so thinking about the past few years of these wonderful teachers who've come into my life and influenced me, I also was exposed to Rod Stryker and did some Four Desires work with him. And anytime he comes to DC, I just sign up and I go. I don't even know what he's teaching, but I always learn something new, especially because his lineage from Tantra is different than from what I have learned and what my teachers taught. It's just there's different texts that he talks about, and I'm really into the philosophy. I'm really into studying and learning how this magical, wonderful science and art of being, which really is what yoga is, and transforming, how it can be applied to our daily life with our barking dog and our, busy city outside. But what's so fascinating to me is the simplicity of the practices that are taught through the text and how they relate to our modern life without all the fancy poses. I think that's the part that I feel so interested in is, the fancy poses don't seem to really work well for my body. Or my heart, to be honest, anymore. I much prefer a really steady, stable, consistent daily practice that's very breathful and soulful. Not that you can't have that with very advanced asana or very advanced poses, but for me and my body, it's just, I'm really enjoying this approach at this stage, and I do other things for cardio and strength and things like that to stay strong and healthy. But circling back to sort of having a teacher and finding teachers, is that you want to align yourself and study with people who really see you and who are able to help you at whatever stage you are in your life, be curious and interested and inquire in why you're doing what you're doing. I've heard Rod say this before, and probably Eric, probably all of the teachers say before, if you are living well in your life, eating, sleeping, and pooping well, which are the signs for a good, healthy body generally, then you don't need to spend hours and hours a day on a yoga mat. Go live your life and enjoy it. Enjoy your family and friends. So many people come to me and say, I should do yoga, I should meditate. And I really feel like one of the big messages that I have these days is, yes, it really helps us to have contemplative practices in our life. It helps us to have the wisdom traditions as we navigate challenges and the suffering of what being human. We all have that. We all are going to lose people we love. We're all facing our own challenges day to day, whether it's relationship, health, financial. These are just part of our daily modern lives. If you know someone who's not affected by any of those things, please send them my way. I'd be interested to interview them. But I think that I'm just so interested in using the teachings in the most simple way to really help the time that I'm here be meaningful and be purposeful. And so I want to use the teachings from all these great teachers around play and around meditation and around the power of practice, and coming home to ourselves over and over, learning how to cultivate a sense of inner trust, inner guidance. And that, I think, really helps modern, especially women who are sort of like me, raising kids and families and working and trying to figure out what's best for them, is that the practices are what teach that inner strength. And working with a teacher, they can help you cultivate that in yourself so that you don't always need to have a teacher. I'm someone who loves the student-teacher relationship, and I'm a lifelong learner, so I feel like I'll always have a handful of teachers in all the areas of my life. That feels really important to me, but at the same time, if I need a break, many of my teachers none of them live here in DC. And so I have to also navigate for myself what is best for my life on a day-to-day basis. And then I kind of go and get inspired by them whenever I can. I think that this conversation is really, really interesting to me. If you have any questions about it, finding a teacher, working with a teacher, an experience you'd like to share, positive or negative, please email me, pleasance@littleom.com, because I'm really interested in continuing this conversation. I'd love to hear from you. Namaste.